On and oh yeah.
And we're live. Hey,
Hey Bob.
my name is Bob, and that's Tim. They're in a call in the other room, and so I was going to let them finish before I go back in there to hang out with Alex and Matt for some amount of time. Welcome to the Dev Support Office Hours. I'm in my blue blockers because I'm feeling sensitive to blue light today. Joining me is Mr. Tim Groutman.
Hey.
Phil, where are you?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
In Washington, D.C., Mr. Philippe OUYA.
Hola.
And then Cohen is also joining us. I never asked where Cohen is.
Netherlands.
In the Netherlands. It's Cohen happening. I guess we'll wait for Alex's tip of the day. But Tim, I didn't really ask you if you had a tip, but I'm doing it right now.
All right. So I'll just go first. All right. Well, I wrote a bunch of documentation. I could show you documentation. Let's do that.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's got pictures in it, so it's not that bad.
Okay.
Here, I'll pull that up. So pretty good stuff. So we released our OUYA Anywhere SDK for a few of the engines, like Unity.
Everywhere. Everywhere, man.
OUYA everywhere. All right. Okay, I found it. Now for the tricky part. Screen share. Just making sure you see it. Okay, yeah, docs. Okay, so the OUYA Everywhere docs. Basically, the default doc is if you're on Java, but then I added a special Java doc that talks about the OUYA Everywhere example for the Java docs. So part of the OUYA SDK, I have examples for like virtual controllers and that kind of thing. And it looks like this. So the Java example has code that shows you how to get the button images you see at the top, and it has the remapping code so that every controller will appear to your game as though it's an OUYA controller. And this document shows you how to hook that up. And the nice thing about that is you can build your game today, and then in the future, if we add support for a new controller, your game will automatically get that. Or if we put the OUYA store on another device, it'll automatically just work on that new device.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah?
How's my audio right now?
Sound good?
Just a quick recap. Can you give us a recap on what OUYA Everywhere is for those who might not be in the know?
Okay, so OUYA Everywhere is a way to get your game working with new controllers so that you don't have to rebuild your game every time we add support for a new controller. So
Did that cut out for anyone or just me? Phil, did you hear that?
I heard that perfectly fine.
Okay, I just have bad connection. Sorry, Tim.
I'll just repeat it. Okay, so let me look at the docs to see what OUYA Everywhere is about. Other than okay.
So
Yeah,
you can actually go to our docs and read it yourself.
but he wrote that. It's okay. So it's a
Looks
way
good.
to. So basically, from my perspective, I think of OUYA Everywhere is you put the game in the store, and whatever platforms we're going to put the OUYA store on, it's going to automatically deliver your game to those platforms, and you get the controller support, which are
But you
two
can, and
pretty cool things.
it's an opt-in thing too, right? So you can choose which devices you want to be on, and so like also to add to what Tim's saying more broadly is that OUYA Everywhere is an initiative to get more people playing your OUYA games on alternate devices. So it's just opening up the OUYA experience.
Right. And the bigger audience you have for your game, that means the more you're going to sell. So it's good for everybody, especially developers. Okay. So to get people started, I've got examples for the different engines about how to hook up your controllers. And so I've got a Java example. If you use monogame, I've got another example and I put a screenshot in here. So in that one, I actually display 4 controllers, but the same APIs to get the button images, the button text. So these might change. Like your game might say, hit the O button to do this, but it might be on a device that doesn't have an O button, and it turns into the X button or something. And these images and text, you'll just grab from the API, and you'll have a sprite that displays it, whatever. Okay, so for those monogame people, I kind of described like how the example set up step by step about how you set up your Visual Studio project, like what you import, and all the examples are checked into the OUYA SDK examples. All right, so if I go back to the Unity one, because that's pretty popular. Here we go. Okay, so I've set up a new releases thing. So you have this doc, and then at the top you've got a link to the source and releases. And if I go off to the releases place, you have the Unity package now that you can download, and you just import that right into your game. And after you import, you just follow through the steps, and this guide kind of goes step by step what you do from like opening your project, importing the package, importing the stuff, like customizing your icons, what you do if you had the old legacy SDK, and then here we go, setting up your OUYA SDK, setting up the different folders so it can find Java and the NDK. And then what the settings to use, like some things that you might run into. And then towards the bottom, you run into the actual API calls. So if you want to, well, initializing, getting the button names, getting the button images, and then I have accessing the access values and button values. And that's everything you need to hook up the controller. You can even see if the controller's connected. And something you couldn't do before.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, something you couldn't do before was in the old Unity input, when you unplugged the controller and then plugged it back in, or that kind of thing, like the controller numbers would shift, and now they have fixed positions. So you know specifically what controller, you know if a controller is player 1 through 4. So now you can tell that.
Cool. I have a question, Tim.
Sure.
So what engines are supported like this right now?
So far, I added documentation for Java, Monogame, and Unity.
Mm-hmm.
And some variations. You can use those for other engines. Like for SuperPixelo, that's LibGDX, and you can use the same code on LibGDX. And I'll work with Philip to add docs for that engine.
Joining us from Canada, eh?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Landon.
What's up? What are you guys
Landon,
doing? I was just kind of like, I didn't know what was happening.
Landon, you built your game. What's your game?
Monogame?
What is your game?
Oh, Duck Game?
You built it in mono game.
Yeah.
Did you run into any snags we should know about for OUYA Everywhere as we move closer to that?
Yeah, we did actually. That's something I have to work on, which is it's just an issue with the start button. So on particular systems, the start button wasn't mapped correctly. So there's actually, if you look in Monogame, it's looking for big button and not for start button when you look at the controller inputs. So you need to add start button in there. Like you'll notice too, you can test it because if you plug a wired Xbox controller into your OUYA, it won't actually work with the start button. You got to push the big button and a lot of games use the big button as a start button. So that's one thing you'll have to change.
Okay, that's something we actually fixed. So for the mono game, if I go to that engine, I wonder if I documented this part, but I think I called it the menu button, and we mapped on a remapping. We are mapping the controller so that the big button maps to the menu button, and the start button is going to map to the menu button.
Very cool.
Let's see. Well, I can always write more docs, but it's similar to the Unity one, where I've got a place in the docs that lists all the codes. Here we go. So you have the different access values, and for button states, I'll make this bigger for YouTube. And here it is. This would be the same on monogame. So OUYA controller button menu, that's going to map to the start button in the big button.
Oh, that's super cool.
So yeah, I'll work with you and make sure it works for you.
Also, I noticed you were looking at something that said, I came in a bit late, that you could hide the mouse cursor now?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yep, that's down here.
That like works, so like my game can, on the OUYA, make sure that the mouse cursor doesn't come up anymore.
Yeah. So it's OUYA controller.show cursor false. That'll hide the mouse cursor.
Ooh, that's going to be useful.
Oh, no kidding. That's amazing.
Oh, I'm so excited!
Especially with those button mashing games, when you accidentally, lean too far into your button mash, and you scrape across the keyboard, and then there's a mouse, and you're like, what's that doing there?
Oh, that's another thing. Reminds me of, I added support for, now you can tell who hit the menu button. So before it was just like it happened, but now you can tell which controller hit the menu button.
Oh, so you can smack them around.
Yeah.
Joining us also from a bunker somewhere in the United Kingdom, Mr. Gareth Bushell.
Hello. I'm just editing my code to put that OUYA controller thing in there to get rid of the
So I
thing
asked.
there, so
I asked.
completely overlooked that.
I asked Landon before you came on, and I was because Tim was talking about OUYA Everywhere integration, and Tim was working in Unity a lot. Landon was in monogame. I think Phil is in libgdx. Did you experience any sort of Unity stuff that was eyebrow raising at all? So we can be better in our documentation.
I kind of used Gaz's feedback as I was writing the documents. So every time we ran into an issue, I'd add it to the docs.
Did you put the coyotes in there? Or?
No. Yeah, one late night there was coyotes across the creek, like attacking a dog or something. It was this horrid noise while we were on a conference call.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
It's a circle of life, so. But yeah. Yes. Oh, so nothing you want to highlight then?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought I was just here as wall candy.
You're both.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think there's loads of stuff in there that I haven't integrated yet. Like this whole controller stuff where you can tell who picked it up. I mean, I need to redo with Amazing Frog, I need to redo the whole way that people put a controller up, recognizing players 1 to 4 and everything, and all that stuff's great, but it does mean that I've got to redo a bunch of stuff in my game to facilitate the new commands that we've got, and so in a way it's like there's so much more power there for being able to recognize what's going on with the controllers and everything, but at the same time it means we've got to change a bunch of stuff, which is good and bad, So it's just like, as a developer, just remember you're going to have to change things to make it fit, even though Tim's made your life easier for you. You've still got to change stuff in your game to go with the new system, which is, yeah, it's good and bad, and but ultimately the game will end up better as a result of it, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping anyway. So yeah, I feel a lot better about it.
All right, and then since our last hangout, Unity 4.5 shipped, so I made sure it works on 4.5 now. So I've got it. Here, I'll just go through the steps really quick. So a new project wouldn't have anything in it, so I'll delete that. and then you just go and import that core package. In the SDK examples, I've got it split out for each engine. So you go to your engine, like Unity, and then there's the OUYA SDK. You import the core package, just grab it all. And one change I made was I got rid of using the input manager asset. So you can continue to use that for non-OUYA platforms, and then import this. And then another thing to watch out for is if you already have your icons defined, when you import, just don't replace your existing icon, otherwise you'll get the default one. Same thing with the signing key. So
Which I did.
You may already have a signing key, which you use for in-app purchases, and you might want to uncheck that if you already have one.
Oh, that's kind of a big deal, eh? Or potentially confusing.
Yeah. And if you accidentally overwrite it, just go back to the developer portal and re-download it. Okay, so now I've imported it, and I'll go back to a normal layout. And then I open up the OUYA panel. Here we go, docket. Okay, and the first thing that happens is you go and define your bundle identifier. So every game has a unique package identifier. So you'll type like com, your company name, your title name, and then you hit the sync button, and it goes and it just sets your package, and then the error goes away. The next step is compiling the NDK. So I hit that, and it thinks about it, and it builds the library files. So actually, I'll show that happening. So this wasn't here before. Here we go. You hit the button, and it made the C++ library here. And then the next step is hit compile plugin, and that builds the OUYA Unity plugin. And then you're good to build and run. And then there's some player settings that you usually do, like you go into project settings and go to your player, go to Android, and make sure your default orientation is landscape left to work on a TV. And then in other settings, you want to set your API level to 16. But other than that, that's all the steps, and I could hit build and run, and it'll be running on my OUYA now.
Boom!
Just like that, yeah.
Nice. Joining us late, is this a good time to take a pause from that? Oh, okay, yeah, we're back. That's Mr. Tim Groutman, everybody, if you're just joining
That's
us.
the end of that. No more docs.
Cool. What's that behind you there, Tim?
Ghostbusters poster.
No, behind Tim more. Oh,
Back to the
okay,
Future.
never mind. I guess I don't see anything. Joining us now is Mr. Alex Doherty.
I joined like 20 minutes
He
ago.
joined a bit ago. I always ask him in the beginning if he has any sort of like quick, easy tips in a segment that we like to call 1, 2, Derp with Doherty. Do you have anything?
This week, everyone did everything perfectly, and no one messed anything up.
No way, are you kidding?
No.
Oh.
I mean, yes, I am kidding.
Oh, okay.
Is that because I didn't submit anything?
But no, one of the issues that's come up a few times this week is related to naming products. A lot of people who have multiple games on the console will name their products all the same, like unlock game. I know I've mentioned this one before, but it's just an ongoing thing. It's really helpful to name your product with the game name and what it unlocks. And specifically, one concern that came up today was people were getting receipts, and it just says like the game name, and people didn't know what it was. So the actual name of the product will appear in a gamer's receipts when they purchase it. So it helps to be specific about what's actually being bought.
What's a good specific example? You just made it up.
If I made it up,
And make it a hybrid game of Super Pixelo, Duck Game, and Amazing Frog, and Shadow Light all at once.
oh my gosh. So the receipt would be you've unlocked the product name,
Which would be called?
Shadow Light Toilet Pass,
Shadow
for Duck Game Pixelo.
Nice.
So as opposed to you've unlocked the toilet pass, or well, that's kind of a specific thing. So that's a bad example. But it'd be
Full
like,
game unlock.
yeah, you've unlocked the full game for.
Super duck.
I say,
toilet.
yeah, super pixelo toilet. So anyway, Bob just ruined this whole thing, and it's a terrible explanation. But yeah, do your game name, and I've unlocked Act 1, so it'd be like Whispering Willows Act 1 for Whispering Willows. And so then when Act 2 comes out and someone buys it, it would say Whispering Willows Act 2, and they can differentiate the receipts in case there's any customer service issues down the line.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Thanks. I have a question for Gaz. Well, it's a question from Josh, and I want to give it to Gaz to see what he says.
Alright.
Gaz.
Shoot. Hey, Bob.
There's a Unity 4.5?
There's a Unity 5, isn't there?
Well,
There was a
4.5
Unity 4. Oh, that 4.5 thing. Oh my god. What a nightmare. What am I on?
That's how
Hang
you
on.
really feel, Gaz.
No, I'm on 4.3.4 still because I upgraded to 4.5, and every time I pressed the play button, it died. And I figured that I'm just going to uninstall that and roll back because I don't have time to waste on that, which is kind of how I felt about it. I think any time you update Unity these days, you got to be prepared for loads of stuff to break, whatever it is. I don't know what happened to Unity. I mean, it's on version 4 now. I've been with it since 1.7 or something, and each time I update, it's been getting more and more fearful about something that might get wrong. But there's no Unity people here, is there? Don't want to look bad to them, but not that I've ever spoken to anyone from Unity, but yeah, it's a great product. Make games in Unity.
Tim, do you want to address that question too? Thank you.
Yeah, so 4.5 is the latest official Unity release, and it's the release right behind 4.6, which will have the new GUI stuff. So for whatever reason, they ship 4.5. Everybody's waiting for 4.6, which will have the new Unity GUI, which I don't know about you guys, but I used NGUI for all my GUI stuff because the built-in GUI system is a little funky. Yeah, so everybody's excited about the new GUI. That's why we want 4.6. So.
Yes, and I have it.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty yeah. It's new, but it's not completely integrated like the old GUI. Not as much code-wise integrated.
You mean like not as many UI widgets?
No, they added different panels and different things for it. But yeah, it's just different. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really nice to use. I haven't seen the documentation about it, so I haven't used it a lot.
Yeah, publicly they have some videos about it. If you're on the beta, you'll see a lot more. But when you're in beta, you can't talk about beta. So.
Speaking of, what's that behind you there, Tim?
Are you talking about the Mojo thing? I have the empty box. On April Fools, they sent me this box.
Oh.
With nothing in it. It was just the box of the.
Oh, the guys at our office did?
Yeah, through shipping.
That's nice of them.
So, but I put all my
new question.
The box up there. Anyways, the new GUI system has it's got this whole new anchoring thing, which makes it really easy to make new UIs and anchor things in the right places. And then it's way better support for your game at multiple resolutions, which will be huge, because you don't want to like make a UI and then you show it to somebody on a big TV and like it's all pixelated. So it'll help a lot with that kind of thing. And there's fancy things you can do to your UIs, like in that video they posted. It's not just like a title on a panel. It's like got some crazy things on the edges that make things look way more stylized. So it's totally something to look forward to. All right, enough ranting. It'll be awesome. I'm just waiting for it to officially drop. That's all.
New question. This might be a Tim question. Are you planning to fix PS4 controller support as currently the button mappings are wrong? Question mark. I think this would be a great controller since it also has a touchpad.
I don't have a PlayStation 4. If you guys want to send me one, if it happens to have a controller with it, I can have that support for that. Otherwise,
Is that all that's keeping us from doing that? We need to get you a controller.
And a PlayStation, but yeah. But actually, in the new system, I've set it up so that Guts can add new mappings for new controllers. So I'm not the only one that can add mappings now, which is pretty cool. And when he adds mappings, like everybody gets it, and you don't have to rebuild your game if you use the OUYA Everywhere stuff.
I have a question about shaders. One of my custom shaders don't work for the terrain I made in Blender, but it works for the character and the character's gun. It's pretty much the same as mobile bumped specular, but it strangely doesn't work for that only object, even though I have the frame rate much.
Oh, I know. It might be this one.
Even though I have the images in the right place and all of the values, this is a long question, set up perfectly. Is there a way to fix this because my custom shader can't have a different specular color and different main color, while the mobile bumped cannot? It also doesn't increase the frame rate.
Good. So it's probably just one of those meta references that didn't map to the right thing. Although it's a custom shader, and I was talking to a guy coming maybe next week. He's like a physical shader guru guy that can talk. He did like the Shader Shop Pro Shop thing. It's in the Unity Asset Store. It looks pretty awesome. Makes everything look super realistic, even on mobile. So, and of course, you know, maybe in that one we can deconstruct your custom shader and talk about like how it works, and maybe we can see if it's a code issue or something that you need to set up in the inspector.
Maybe Josh can email you, and then it would be cool maybe if you guys figured it out, we could talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So that's T. Groutman. Yep. You're probably already emailing Josh at this point.
Oh yeah, he's on my Skype. Yeah.
Nice.
We talk every day.
Nice. How do you make time to talk to everybody?
Yeah, if you guys want to Skype me anytime, I'm always there. If you run into something, just ping me.
Question for Gaz from Xavier Ade or Ad. I'm sorry if I messed up your last name. Question for Gaz or any other EU devs. How do you handle your VAT on OUYA sales for EU customers? Does OUYA provide enough information about client's country and the amount they actually paid?
What country are they from? Because if you're in the UK, then your money that's come like VAT. Did it say VAT? VAT?
Yeah.
Because money that comes in from the States, you have to pay VAT on. But like money that comes in from the UK, that you can have VAT on it. So that's the way around it works. Because obviously they want to import as much money as they can and incentivize people to do that. That's how it works over here. So I just get, there's no VAT from you to me, but then you just get corporation income tax and everything else like that. God, I hate accounts. Why did that come up? Basically, the way to deal with accounts is to just like go on Google and then just smash your head against the screen for a few hours and then just forget about it and just get back to making games. That's the easiest way to deal with accounts. It will just sort itself out, or someone will chase you down eventually.
You should do an account seminar at like a hotel.
This is my account seminar, yeah. Just do whatever you feel like doing, and when they chase you down, just say, whoa, I didn't know about that. And then pay them their money and get on with it. Oh.
Yeah, and if you don't pay, that's how you end up with a lien on your house.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things like that. So.
Yeah, try not to allow that to happen, obviously. But,
I know in our system, the developer portal, like you can upload tax documents, and I think if you upload the right ones, we take the taxes out for you or something, and then if you put the right ones in,
yeah,
or if you didn't put the information in, then you're responsible for paying your own taxes, kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to come up with that number, and if you're in the UK, then you have to put in like 9 zeros or something, because you don't actually have, for a UK corporation, you don't have to have the same corporation stuff that you have to have with you guys, because you get the number given to you. So you have to supply all of the company stuff that you have as a UK company. I have no idea how it works for Canada, but Landon might be able to tell you about that. But I remember did that back in March 2013, so I've forgotten how that's working with that. But it's the same with Apple, same with all the others, same thing. But in fact, if anything, OUYA's was easier than Apple. But yeah.
Yeah, anything sales related for me, I put into a folder, and that goes right to the accountant. So.
Do you know, Landon? What's it like in Canada?
What to do money, eh? What are you talking about?
Loonies and toonies, man.
Oh, I don't know. I don't make any money.
In the U.S., I think if you make less than, what was it, $4,000 or $5,000, you don't have to pay taxes. But if you're making less than $4,000 or $5,000, you're also homeless, or you live in your parents' basement. But yeah, if is it just the 1099 that you'll take out the taxes beforehand? Because not having to worry about taking out the taxes beforehand would be amazing.
Alex actually knows.
I don't. I know that there is a circumstance within which we do just withhold everything, but I don't know the actual form for it.
I think Phil and you are both right.
Yeah. It probably is, because 1099 is usually like just independent contractor type work. So.
And you get 30. I think taxes off of that is about 30%.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
It's very high. I did like a web contracting thing, and usually for that kind of stuff, they'll, you just report it on your own as like additional income.
Yeah, no.
But because it's on a 1099, it's by default like 30% off of what you earned, and it was like, oh man.
Yeah.
That's why you need to itemize your deductions, so that you need to itemize all your expenses to reduce that amount.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, you just take the standard deduction, and then Uncle Sam gets all your money.
Yep. Good old Uncle Sam.
Hey, Gav. If Uncle Sam is our uncle, what does he make you?
Second cousin.
Sorry, what? Well, Uncle Sam.
What's the name of Uncle Sam in the UK?
Yeah, what do you guys call Uncle Sam?
I don't have some dirty uncle overseeing everything I do.
Silly.
So apparently it's called Dirty Uncle.
Yeah,
No
we're free people over here. We do what we want. Yeah.
Mr. Sam. Mr. Clarence Simpson is a relatively new name. I don't think you've seen this name, so that's cool. Is there any way to force the OUYA controller pairing screen to appear when no controllers are currently paired? I was testing controller stuff the other day, and I ended up unpairing all my controllers, and I couldn't pair again without connecting a USB mouse.
That's the best question ever. I get that all the time.
Yeah, it'll do it automatically, but otherwise the mouse is the best way to just go to your pairing screen.
I thought there was like if you wait
There's like
2 minutes.
There's about a 2-minute timeout, but that's sort of it's
like
faster to plug in a mouse at that point.
It's like ages if you're sitting there time.
Yeah, and you have to be on the launcher for it to come up, right? It's not going to come up if it was in a game or something.
True.
You guys should on the next model include a little touchpad on the OUYA console that you can just sort of
go to pairing.
The whole thing should be a touchpad, right? You just
the
hold it in
whole
your hand
you can
and
just move your fingers around and control games.
Rubik's Cube game.
I was thinking like Hellraiser.
Yeah.
So with that, Landon, you noticed that too. Does that mean like we should look into reducing the the no response times so that it pairs a little bit faster than 2? I think it's like 2.5 minutes right now.
Was there like no way that it can detect if there's no controllers? Because it actually works if you use an Xbox pad too. By the way, that's what I do. But
it'll go into a pairing controllers detected after I think it's 2 minutes, 2.5. But now I don't know because you don't. It seems like you don't know either.
It used to be 2 minutes, but we tweaked the timing as well.
I'll make a note and investigate that for you and Clarence and everybody else.
Investigate.
Yeah, man.
Is that a word? Inspectigate.
It is now.
Yeah, you just said it.
Yes.
It's a Bobism.
John has a seems. Why does my TV buzz loudly while a dialog box, e.g., update notification, things like that, is open on the OUYA? Are you aware of addressing this issue? This doesn't happen on any of my other hardware with this TV.
Is it a tube TV?
Yeah, that was my first question too. Your TV shouldn't buzz at all if you have a LCD.
Well, it could be just
mine.
yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
I've got a TV that buzzes, but only when you first turn it on. It's probably related to color ranges because all white is going to be more intense than black, and so maybe if you adjust your contrast, you can make it buzz less or offset your range, maybe.
Jonathan, I would suggest also maybe trying a different TV to see if we can just figure out before we inspectigate further. Maybe it's the TV related.
Yeah, it could be certain colors. Like I just check if it was. You could make a custom app with a color picker and then just use the controller to adjust the color and see what colors make it buzz louder. Like color profiles.
That could be an app, a buzz louder app.
Yeah.
Change the color on the spectrum.
TV.
With your built-in touchpad on the OUYA 2.0, you can change colors right from there.
System seller.
Yeah.
What's that?
That would be smart to have a TV calibration app. Kind of like you have a DVD to calibrate your TV. All that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and they're like, this is the left speaker. Like
Yeah.
that.
Well, except for the picture.
Yeah. Well, Black and Light had that when you play it. So you launch it and it shows you some boxes and it's like this box you shouldn't be able to see it and you just calibrate and tune it so that the things you're not supposed to be able to see you can't see.
Playcast questions coming in. Playcast is fun. Check it out. Don't know the official marketing thing yet. I think they're still testing stuff. I don't know whose sounds that was.
That was me.
Oh.
It sounds like a frog with a laser gun. I'm gonna go with that.
Josh says, you know how Unity 4.5 initiates objects faster? Does that mean I don't need to use an object pool for Photon multiplayer?
I'd say always use an object pool because that's going to be faster than instantiating.
Object pool's a good bet.
Yeah. Maybe internally it's using an object pool now, so it's faster. I don't know. That is if you can hit play without crashing.
Any plans for E3? We do have plans for E3. We're going to be there, playing games.
Inside. We'll be inside.
That's true. There's no parking lot this time.
Oh, that's the question. Can we talk about games really fast?
Sure.
Do you mind?
I mean, what kind of games?
We have a lot of developers on right now.
Yeah. So,
we could ask about Cohen. Come back. Hey, Cohen, how's your game going?
Sorry, yeah, my Wi-Fi is great, like always. I didn't actually play anything this week.
No, I meant like, how's Shadowlight right now? What are you doing on it?
I added Mojo support like yesterday, and I fixed a lot of bugs, which I have a lot of still. So, and I'm adding real-time shadows. I'm going to add that.
Cool. So we look forward to that then.
Yeah, and I'm going to add an extra world for Titan Temple is called. So yeah, that's it.
Bushel. Guys, what's up with your games, man?
Yep. Where are they? I'm working on them.
What's the news? What can we look forward to?
Well, I'm going to put an Amazing Frog update out imminently. a kind of unannounced update, which has got a UFO in it. We've kind of redone the moon. We've added a bunch of costumes on racks. Like there's a Boba Fett costume in there somewhere, and we've put a few more copywritten costumes in there. Yeah, and we've improved the driving on the cars a bit. There's a bunch of stuff in the new thing, but it's sort of like a midway point between the major update, which is coming to Amazing Frog, which we're calling Amazing Frog 2.0, which is where I've sort of redone his rig, but that's not ready, so that's why we sort of rolled back to put the OUYA Everywhere stuff in, but we couldn't resist putting a bunch of extra changes into it, so that's what we did. And that one should be coming out in the next few days. But the main one to focus on is Amazing Frog 2.0, which should be coming out soon, and that'll be, you know, with the frog being crushed and being able to fall over less, but also fall over better, and stuff like that. And then Cascade in a couple of weeks, we're going to put the first version of that out and let people play on that. Yeah, all sounds really exciting. It's more exciting than my voice is letting on. But
can you tell us about Cascade for the uninitiated?
Cascade, that's yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff to do with that over the next week, and I'm showing it to a bunch of people as well over the next couple of months. But we're putting the first version out on OUYA in 2 weeks' time, or week. I don't know what date. What's the date today? We're putting it out soon.
A second.
Yet.
What is Cascade if you describe it?
Oh right, sorry. Yeah, Cascade's like you fly around. That you start off. You look at this brain. This is how it is at the moment. You look at this brain, and you say, I want to go into this brain, and then you fly around this big, everlasting scape of brain cells. You fly past all the brain cells. You pick one of the brain cells you want to maybe save. Look at the ones that are damaged, which are being destroyed, and then you go down to the surface of that brain cell, and you fly around it like this giant planet, shooting away at all these things which are trying to cut these strands, which are creating Alzheimer's disease. And we're sort of releasing it at that section. We've shown versions of it where you have like 4-player flying around. We sort of held that bit off so that we can focus on more of the explosive shooting and stuff, and then we can bring 4-player into it a little bit later. I'm going to sort of put it out on OUYA as a kind of sort of early accessing, so we can put it out in that stage, add more to it, and keep adding more to it over the coming months, and just grow it on OUYA basically. Before we yeah. Sorry, I didn't have a pitch ready. I was just like...
No, I wouldn't. Next up is Landon.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guy.
Yeah, I'm working on Duck Game still. I actually got a patch coming up pretty soon that fixes stuff. Mainly, though, it adds a chainsaw. And the chainsaw works like a real chainsaw, and it can flood and light on fire and burn things and cut things and cut down doors. There's actually like a chainsaw murderer level now that's just doors and boxes. So you run around like blocking yourself in, and if the one guy who gets to the chainsaw just like runs around cutting down doors, and you got to get him with like dueling pistols. And it's cool because you can actually put the chainsaw down low onto the ground, and it'll grab onto the ground, and you'll ride along the ground with it, so it makes it kind of like Tony Hawk's grinding, and you can like fly around the levels. Like I got a race level for that now, and that's pretty much like there's some other stuff like it fixes audio issues and things like that, but that's the big change. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That sounds radical, man.
Do chainsaws work on water?
Well, they cut water barrels in half, so the water splashes everywhere. They do work underwater right now, which doesn't make very much sense, but I may or may not fix that.
That's just ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
Philippe.
So, still working on Super Pixala stuff. I've got an update coming probably in the next 2 weeks that introduces 2 new game modes. One, you'll now have timers that you can race. You can basically speed run, and then if you've done all the levels with the speed run, it will tell you how long it took you to do the entire game. So you can get a nice total. Then soon after that, there's just going to be an online leaderboard so that you can actually just in real time see compared to other people. And then after that, I plan to do another game mode that's a kind of like a rage game mode where your character can never stop moving. So you're either going right or left, jumping up and down. So if you played Super Pixalo, you know it's already a little bit frustrating because you're sliding. You don't have legs or feet. You're a pixel. So you're light. You don't have a lot of friction. So you're kind of going crazy. So imagine that and having no ability to like pause. So that's just for those people who really like to lose their hair early or something like that. That's on the way. I already gotten started on my next game, kind of tinkering off and on, just because it's weird to just stop working on or like reach the almost graduation point of a game where it gets released. It's not done, but it gets released and you still tinker with it, but it's like you suddenly don't have that project that you're like, oh, it's due in 5 months or something like that. So I started on the next one. I'll talk about that in detail later on in the future. I don't want to give too much away because stuff changes pretty frequently with my projects. So
Cool. Cool, man. Well, I mean, if stuff changes too readily, you could take some advice from either Gaz or Landon because they stay on like a set schedule and nothing ever changes.
Well, I have something like that. I have like something like that. Like I very much take the agile approach. Where I'll have a goal, and then I'll have a timeline, and then everything I can get done within that timeline, great, and then the rest come in future updates. And then for other games, I know what game I'm doing next, but how that looks exactly will change over time. Like the story might take a different path. It may be darker or happier than I originally intended, or it may introduce something that I haven't seen before in a game. My next game is very different. It's not an arcade game, so it's just more of an experimental like story, completely story based. It's more like I'm calling it an interactive novella because that's really the best way to describe it. So I don't know what that will look like. So I can't like say, oh, this is a story about this, or it's a conversation someone has with herself over a period of time. It's I don't know yet because I have the story out, I have the gameplay parts of it out, but what from there? I mean, it could take a totally different shapes.
Cool, man. Got some questions in. Scott says, "Where's Julie?" Julie's in LA.
Yes.
Come by. We can come by the office.
That's where she's hiding, though.
She's not hiding. She's just at the office. We should have her just pop in really fast. Let me see. In the meantime, can't really answer this question. These sorts of things are, delicate. And I'm not a businessman by any means. I'm not Gaz.
The business acumen of a newt.
Gingrich. That's a compliment. Well, I don't know if it is or not. That's not an official. I'm just okay. Sorry. In the Unity OUYA SDK, has the screen change been fixed so the GUI doesn't enlarge anymore?
I think he's talking about setting the resolution. The new SDK is purely a controller-based thing. It doesn't really affect changing the resolution yet. So that's something I still have yet to figure out. But I do know it involves Java and reflection. That's all I know for now.
Would you want to waste your time on that though? Wouldn't it be better to get like real-time YouTube videos into the 3D world?
Yeah, I do have an idea about that. So, so Land and Duck Game, like at the end you get the replay highlights, right? So the thing is, it would be great if we could like take that and upload it directly to YouTube. But the thing is, making a video is too time intensive while you're playing the game. But the way that you do the highlights, you've got the recorded data. So theoretically, this is just an idea, but we could replay that frame by frame to a render texture, which saves like each video frame, and then encode it to like use software encoding to make a movie file. And then I've already done stuff like this before, but YouTube has an API where you can upload that movie file over to YouTube. So probably save the movie on the SD card, and then just generate like a 1-minute video of your highlights and make that automatic. I was thinking about making a prototype example of something like that. I don't know if people are interested though.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's not what I was asking, but that sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Sorry, I went a different way with it. What was the question?
No, make that happen instead. Make that happen instead. I want to download YouTube on the fly into my game, so that I can put whatever YouTube video I want.
Okay, so I
So you can have
into
a TV in
so I
the
just-
game that's playing a YouTube video?
Yeah, so like say for example, you wander around Amazing Frog, you look up and there's a blimp that goes by, and hanging from that blimp is a big TV, and on that TV is a YouTube video that I've decided to put there, like because today it's like it's I don't know whatever video of YouTube I want to put in there day, yeah. But like, you could go into the back room and you could be playing this dev meeting back in the room somewhere. Not that I would do that, but.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay, so I can make that work as well, although the YouTube thing adds a little bit of a complexity to it. There is the mobile movie textures, but you have to embed the movie inside your APK, and for YouTube streaming, that's not going to work. But for streaming, I can use the Chromium shell, content shell, and you get the same way I did the Movie Everywhere stuff with a C++ plugin. I have a C++ plugin for Chromium, and that can display an HTML5 page, which would be the YouTube video. And then I've got access to an API to get bitmaps from that context, and we can pass the image from Java over to your texture in Unity. It might be kind of choppy on that blimp, but we'd have to. If the smaller the texture, probably the faster it's gonna to show.
Yeah.
But it could be possible if we're doing like a 200 or 240 size video, could probably play on that blimp.
And would we bring the sound in with that as well? Do you think?
Yeah. So I've got sound support too, and that would just play in native Android, so you wouldn't have to worry about handling the sound in
And
Unity.
do you reckon it would run while like Amazing Frog was crushing the processor? Or...
Yeah, I mean, we the smaller the video, the better the performance. We just have to try it out. It's a lot of like copy and memory stuff, which over JNI, which could be kind of slower. But I don't know. We just have to try.
To try it, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe when I got past this IK stuff.
It's always possible that we could buffer it, right? So you just buffer a little bit of the video, and then just keep looping that.
I think the reason I want it, the reason I think it would be great, is because there's so many YouTube videos out there, and they're constantly dynamic all the time. It's just like a website, you chuck loads of YouTube videos on it, and that's a really good way of showing people what's going on in a subject, and whatever that subject is. So say like Amazing Frog, say like these are all the videos that people have been playing. So like one of the changes we put in the new versions, we put an art gallery in there. So all the images that people have made of Amazing Frog, we put onto these little galleries. So you walk into this gallery where there's actually an art gallery in Swindon. We've got these up there, but if you could go into a room and actually see people playing certain videos, we could put videos of people playing that game in there, we could put videos of people playing Amazing Frog in there, or whatever we wanted to put in there, just to say this is what we're into, and it could change on a daily basis, by just changing which video we link to on that day. It'd be really easy way for us to chuck instructions or stuff like that into a game and say, why don't you try doing this, and just throw a video. So it'd have to be super dynamic. It'd have to be really easily updatable to make it work. But,
the simple alternative is just to show a video view overlay on top of Unity, and do it as an overlay.
Maybe that's where I'm gonna have to go. Like just show like if I can maybe just load in a thumbnail and you see it, and then it puts a video viewer on top of it. Maybe that's where I start, and then integrating it into the environment is something we try later. But maybe if we get to that point first, maybe that's because that we can do, right?
Yeah. That's relatively easy actually. You just
And
add
then
a video
also-
feed to your layout, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. So if we do that, and then see if people are even interested in it, and then if they are, then I can start shoving them in the actual game environment, which would be fun. Yeah. Safe.
Safe.
So did I say that out
Scott's-
loud? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Safe. Would you ever consider putting some kind of video that could occasionally change on the main page when OUYA first boots up that highlights new games and community events, bring more awareness? Alex?
Yeah.
Just
since
wait, Scott.
It's the home screen, like with Play and Discover on it. We are looking into options for that right now, actually. Like the boot up video. Probably not. But yeah,
We're experimenting with this.
yeah. Actually, we might do something today related to it. Unconfirmed.
Turn on your console, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
Give it like 4 hours.
Yeah. Turn on your console 4 hours. Oh, man. Entering the ring. A man who needs no introduction. Bunker somewhere in Los Angeles, Mr. Jared Yeager.
Hey everyone, sorry to be so insanely late.
What's that you got there?
Little baby found it down the street.
Nice.
So I could get it home.
Nice.
Picked it up on the way to office hours.
Nice.
Josh had a question in regard to what Gaz and Tim are talking about the replays. Could I save the exact time the player playing did certain things, and the player wants to upload it? I just load those values and then take the screenshot and save them as a video file. Oh, he's like contribute. What do you think of that random idea, guys?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how Landon did that. Like, what format do you save
Good question.
that game recordings so that you can do a replay?
Actually, what I do is I just put a hook in. Everything in Monogame goes through a sprite batch, so like all the drawing eventually draws as triangles on the screen, right? So I just put a hook in that every time some sort of polygon is going to be drawn, I just log its position, its rotation, and what texture is on it, and then I save data about that for each frame, along with data about render changes. So say if I change the background color, I change the shader that's being used, the draw order, anything like that. I just, whenever that happens, I record it to the log so that it can be played back when the gameplay plays back through. So it's pretty much just a list of render calls. Like, it doesn't do any audio recording. Oh wait, no, I guess it does technically, but that's just through audio events. So whenever a sound effect plays, it'll just tell the recording, a sound effect plays here, so play it back when it comes up.
Right. That just turned into a sound ID.
Yeah, exactly. I was even able to make it record to a file just by, because there's a couple things generated by render targets, right? Like, say, like the purple box, when you put an item in it, it shows like a black and white image of the item floating over top. I was able to do that through just exporting, making the file format have a header that has the render targets that I've created at the beginning so that they can be loaded in as textures to be displayed during the playback of the recording.
Do you
Would you
think?
ever release that as like a plugin maybe? That's probably something marketable.
Yeah, it would be pretty easy to make it universally work for monogame games because like pretty much anything that I add, it works with it because it's all just through the basic the code hooks. I don't have to do anything special. So, I mean, if people could find a use for it, I'd gladly release it for free.
Yeah, maybe add it to our SDK. Huh?
Do you have to put your hands like that, Tim? Yes.
I actually saw it on the 206. They were saying all good talk show hosts have to do this. Like it's a meme going on right now.
Is 1,500 polygons too much, Gaz, for a gun?
Oh, right. Sorry. 1,500. Oh, sorry. I thought you said 15,000. I was like, that's not too much. 15,000 is fine. Where's Hal when I need him? Yeah, I'd say 15. We probably have less well, 1,500. I think that's what we've got on the Frog. But I don't think it's too much. No, it just depends how much going on in the environment, how many guns there are. You know.
It's all
How
about
many?
flow rate too, right, Tim?
So what if you
all
had
about
like
all around
200 bad guys running at you? They all have this gun.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. I'd aim for like 500. A gun is kind of symmetrical.
It also
And-
depends. If it's like a first-person view of a gun, you might want a little more detail.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the use.
Like Prey had an awesome gun. That's Prey, the game where you're on the reservation and all of a sudden aliens abduct your whole town. And anyways, eventually you get on a spaceship and you have a gun with an eyeball that comes out of the gun and it looks at you. Like, I think that one would be 1,500 polygons because it's got anywhere where you have curved edges, it's going to increase your poly count. But for all the straight edges stuff, you could just use a bitmap image to adjust a box, and then it would, you'd use a proxy mesh to get it to pretend like it's a higher poly mesh.
1,500 is not a lot, actually, is it? I keep thinking in thousands, and 1,500 is not that much.
1,500.
Yeah, I mean, we look at when we look at an Amazing Frog scene with everything in it, we sometimes might hit 60,000 triangles, but it really depends what's on them. Depends what's on them. If it's like a crazy shaders on them, then each triangle is rendered like 5 times. My accent.
So I don't know, Josh. We can't tell if Landon answered your question about the. Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, I feel like Landon answered it
Landon did.
in terms of the sound events.
Landon, question for you from Josh. How is multiplayer going? Just say great.
Well, I read some articles about things, and apparently Duck Game would be incredibly complicated to add multiplayer to. I knew it was going to be a problem, but I didn't realize it would be as complicated as I ended up reading. But chances are, if I end up implementing multiplayer, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do an anti-cheat system. So it may only be good for playing with friends, people you know. Like online servers might end up just being cheat crazy. It's hard to say at this point, though. Like, I really need to do some more research. It might not be as big a deal as I thought. The biggest problem to me... Sorry?
So you read something and it was like... Bah!
Yeah, well, it sounds like to keep the game from lagging, right? Like in an online game, you'll always see... You'll be playing and some lag will happen, and suddenly you'll go back and it'll like rewind, and then you walk forward again. And I always figured that looked like there was some complicated stuff going on there. And it turns out to make the game not lag online and be real time, you need to have a system so that you can rewind frames. So you can say like, go back 10 frames and make the game be the state it was. And the problem with that is, say, like my duck alone has probably 150 booleans, floats, strings, everything inside it that gets updated every frame. So I would have to save all that stuff every single frame so that I could rewind back to it as soon as any lag happened. And unless I can like figure out how to do that selectively or something, it's going to be a real problem.
That's intense.
But I'm not going to say that I'm not going to do it because I still don't know. Like, I still want to do it, but I need to do more research before I can know for sure whether I can.
Mm-hmm. One more question, and then we'll go around the room really fast to wrap up the show. But Tim, are you going to make a game for OUYA already? Says Scott.
I don't know. I work on a lot of prototypes on the weekend. I don't have enough time to like make a full game, but I have enough time for prototypes.
Tim, I should tell you about my game idea off the record.
I did.
Alex.
I was so the Leap Motion controller came. They have a new skeleton API, so I was playing around with that this weekend. So I used Mixamo for guys to zombie guys to run at you, and then you use your leap hands to like smack them and flatten them, and then the zombies fall down and die. So
This guy or gal has a kid who's 12, wants to be a game developer. What are his chances of making something before summer is out? Because he has to go back to school.
Do it.
So in the 3 months, yeah, just scope it first, and then make something small that's easy, and then once if you put enough a small set of features, you get that done, and then you can always add on to it. But start with like what's the least. Start with the least common denominator.
Okay, let's go around the room. Cohen, what'd you eat this week?
My exams were done, so we went to the walk. How do you call that? An all-you-can-eat at a restaurant. So that was pretty nice. A lot of meat. So
nice. Gas.
Hey. What did I eat?
Yeah.
We got some crazy sushi that was really nice. It's like takeout. So that's really boring to you guys because you get that all the time, but for us it's like a specialty. Because you don't have so many of that over here. It's sushi place, not in Swindon anyway. Well, I suppose it is because we got the Honda factory, so there's quite a big Japanese presence, I suppose. But yeah, it was nice.
Okay. Jared, the baby ate baby food, or what babies eat, and
1 tin of baby food.
Oh no, he's got a baby. Okay, Landon, what'd you eat?
I don't really eat. I don't really remember. Probably a hamburger or something.
Yeah. Phil?
Well, I eat, but I'm trying to think of something that's exceptionally interesting. On Sunday, I think it was Sunday. No, Saturday. Saturday, me and my wife went over to my parents' house down the road, and we had steak, and it was pretty darn good. Steak and homebrew. Lots of homebrew.
Nice. Turkey steak. Awesome. And Mr. Tim Groutman, what'd you eat?
Water.
Rocks.
It's been warm in Seattle, so yeah, lots and lots of water.
Water. Oh, Jared's back. Jared, what'd you eat, man?
Oh, I went to Worst Kush, this really awesome brat place in LA. Chicken apple sausage brat with whole grain and honey mustard, sauerkraut, and sweet onions, with fries, with barbecue sauce, and this chipotle sun-dried tomato mayo. It was good stuff.
And Alex?
Hold on, I'm going to channel Jared here.
Ooh.
We bottled some 2011 and 2012 Chardonnay, and we had a steak sandwiches on baguettes with a nice goat cheese and a little spinach and balsamic drizzle on it.
Was the baguette toasted?
It was toasted.
Was there aioli?
There was all of those things, and it was mind-blowingly delicious.
Okay.
It's all you, Alex. It's all you.
Yeah.
Yes!
I don't think I ate anything.
Can't top that.
So Alex, and then Jared, and then in third place is Gaz. And I would thank you all for playing. Josh was recommending to the person who had a 12-year-old kid developing this summer to check out Game Maker. I agree that'd be a good one to check out, and we have documentation at devs.ou.tv that should help you along the way.
And then there's also I was playing around recently, but Scratch works pretty good. I had a chance to sit down with that. I haven't figured out how to make it work on the OUYA yet, but it was pretty easy to pick up. Like all the code blocks are kind of drag and drop. You just snap them together and you click on them, and pretty quick you can have a talking cat that walks around.
All right. So this has been real. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. So Mr. Cohen Hacking, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mr. Gareth Bushel.
Hello.
Jared.
Yeah, I was paying attention.
Land and Pod Bills.
Bye. But.
Bye!
Oh.
Mr. Finley.
We all got mooned.
Oh, nice hat.
Jim Grauman in his hip hop hat, b-boying, and for Mr. Alex Doherty.
Goodbye.
And myself. It's been a wonderful week. See you guys next week with your awesome OUYA questions. Thank all our developers for coming in. That's awesome that you guys showed the maths. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And I'll talk to you all soon. Somebody slipped my mind that this was going to be another Game Maker recommendation. Yeah, someone else recommends Game Maker. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
We're ending on a high note here.
Goodbye, guys.
And it's still
How do I
live.
get out of this thing? All right, there it is.
Goodbye, Landon.
We're just waiting for everybody to leave.
Yeah.
This is
It's still live. You got to hit the end broadcast button.
Oh no!
All right, bye.